Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Tokyo Tropic Turtles Draft to Glory franchise mode here in MLB The Show 24. So in last episode, we simulated the rest of year number 11, and it was our best season yet again, which is great. So we are still on the upward trajectory, and hopefully we could have a good offseason to keep this team pretty much together, and hopefully next year we might make a playoff push, because this season we finished 74 and 88. Last year we finished with 63 wins, so there is a realistic chance that there is a possibility we could be closer and closer to a 500 team next season, which is very, very exciting. So obviously it depends on our batting, because obviously we still haven't been a great contact hitting team, so I'm hoping that improves next season, obviously, because if it does improve, this team could be a 500 team or even maybe better than 500. So going to be definitely interesting to see what ends up happening with the team over the next few years, because this is definitely almost our window of opportunity to start getting into the playoffs and also potentially winning a World Series. So anyways, before we get into the off-season work that we have to do to basically keep this team together, let's get in your guys' comments and see what you guys have to say about last episode. So the first comment is from Ryan the Sharky, who says, does Iwamura get a fielding boost for winning Gold Glove? And I don't normally do boosts for kind of individual attributes, but I think he is, he's growing actually in the fielding area, so I think it's kind of okay that he's already growing in that area anyways. Obviously, if he was a lower end player, maybe that would make sense, obviously, if he won a Gold Glove or something to give him a boost in a specific area, but you can see that he won the Gold Glove for pitcher, which is awesome. So shout out to Parker Iwamura. That was his first award. Hopefully he could win a Cy Young in his career at some point too, because obviously him not having an award yet is kind of surprising, but at the same time, it's not with the fact that our team's only just starting to get better as of the last few seasons. Next comment is from Xavi Ronaldo, who says, quality starts is such a flawed stat. All it means is 3 or less earned runs in 6 or more inning outing. 3 earned runs in a 6 inning is a 4.5 ERA and not very good. So he thinks the quality starts attribute here or statistic I should say, is a little bit overrated, and I guess it kind of does make sense in a way that it's kind of a bit overrated. Like you're saying, the 3 earned runs in 6 innings is a 4.5 ERA, which is not very good. I mean, 4.5 I would say is actually kind of okay, but it's obviously not fantastic. Like when you win at Cy Young, you're getting 3 or below. Sometimes you're getting 3.5 or some shit too. So I guess it does make sense that quality starts is not really the end-all be-all, so to speak. But I don't really know what else we could really track to say if these guys are doing good. Obviously, ERA and WHIP is probably the number one things to look at. Quality starts is definitely something we could look at to kind of balance out the two. Probably also WAR would be something to look at for sure, and FIP. I don't know about all these other ones because there's strikeouts per 9 innings, so you can see that Iwamura threw 9.5 strikeouts per 9 innings, so he's pretty much... This season was his best strikeout throwing season. You also have his amount of home runs he gives out per 9 innings, which was only 1.3. So he's not giving a lot of home runs up, which is fantastic. So maybe we could look a little bit more in depth at these per 9 statistics as well when we're giving players boosts and downgrades. That way we can kind of have a better idea of what players deserves an actual boost and which ones do not. The next comment is from Nick Bucker, Barons OC, who says, William A. Bike struggled and received a -1, showed flashes, but could not maintain an above 250 average as needed. And yeah, it would suck that for William A. Bike, how he didn't have as good of a second half of the season. We can't take a look at his stats because he was in AAA, but he started off the season pretty decent, and then he dropped below at 250, unfortunately. So he did drop down by 1 potential, but it's not the end of the world because he still does have a good potential, and he's one of the better prospects out there in the league at the moment. Also, Nick and Dylan gave me their lists for the prospects and for our current players in terms of who gets boosts and who gets downgrades. Most of our players got boosts, I would say. I'm not going to basically read out all their parts of their comments because it's way too long to list out, but a good chunk of our relievers, especially in AAA, got +3 added to their potential. So some of them might have increased in potential. Some of them were just increased in Actually, I think a lot of them increased in potential, but very close to actually changing potentials. Some of them didn't change potentials whatsoever, but they are pretty close to changing. So it is very good to see that our relief pitchers are getting the job done. So those were the comments that I got in last episode. Like I said, I would have went over each individual like attribute and stuff and who got boosted and who didn't. But there's just too much people to name. But obviously, like guys like Leonard Sato, the other Sato, a lot of guys got good boosts on his team. Not a lot of negative, I would say, with the roster in terms of like downgrades, which is great. So we're trending in the right direction in terms of development and also in terms of how we're playing, which is great. So I'm very excited to see what ends up happening next season and seasons beyond this if this team could actually make the playoffs, because obviously I don't know for sure if this team is going to be capable of winning a World Series still yet, but I do think that they will make the playoffs at least once in the series, which is great. So we just want to trend to the right, making the playoffs, and once we're in the playoffs, who knows what could happen once we get there. So anyways, there is that. Let's get to another offseason. I'm not really looking forward to the offseason stuff just because it's more contracts to dish out and more money management. But at the same time, I'm excited to see what next year's draft class is looking like. This is probably going to be the worst draft pick we've had in franchise history, because last year we had the 7th overall pick, or this season technically. This year, we probably do not have great odds at getting the 1st overall pick, so I'm not expecting to get a super high up pick this year, but hopefully we could still land ourselves a good Asian player in the upcoming draft class. So anyways, let's take a look and see who ends up winning the World Series this year. This is what the playoff bracket looks like in case you guys wanted to take a look at that. So you got like Milwaukee, Colorado, you got Arizona, St. Louis still in the playoffs, also Atlanta in the Mets. And then in terms of the other side, you have the Angels, Cleveland, you have Toronto, Detroit, Houston, and the White Sox. So it should be interesting to see who ends up moving on in terms of all those teams. I believe the Blue Jays won the World Series last year, so let me actually, did they win the World Series last year? I think it was the Blue Jays, right? I got to take a look and see who won last year, because I honestly don't remember. Oh, no, it was the Phillies. That's right. I think they beat Toronto in the finals or some shit. But the Philadelphia Phillies are not in the playoffs this year, so it'll be a new World Series champion who is going to win the World Series in, what year are we? 2034. Kind of crazy the White Sox have built up already this quick, because obviously the White Sox in real life are pretty bad at the moment. So let's see who wins the World Series in 2034. It will be the Houston Astros beating the Milwaukee Brewers. So the Houston Astros, who are in our division. Let's not advance, and let's see. It was in 7 games. All right. So that means Steve Cortez got it done. Let me actually take a look at him just for fun too, so we can kind of see what a actual World Series champion would look like. So yeah, Steve Cortez led the way with 5 home runs. Waller, yeah, there's some really good players on that team. So I'm hoping that eventually at some point we could get to a roster like that. But honestly, I feel like we're still quite far off in a way. Like our pitching's good, but obviously the batting, to get our batting to that point is going to be a lot of work. So if we could even just get to the playoffs in this series, I'd be happy. But obviously a World Series is the main goal with this roster. But there is the Astros, and let's simulate to the offseason and see what we got to get in terms of coaches, what retirements happen, that type of thing. So we got to bring back a hitting coach and a farm director, all right. So that's not too hard. Retired players, we did lose some players that probably, yeah, we were just filler players. So these guys don't matter too much, but obviously that means I might need to sign some more pitchers to fill out a roster for next season, which is unfortunate. So I guess I could write that down if I'm not mistaken. Let's just get a piece of paper here and write it down just in case. So I'm going to need maybe like 7 pitchers. So just in case I actually need to fill my roster up a little bit more. All right, and Manny Machado has made it to the not the All-Star game, the Hall of Fame in 2034. So shout out to Manny Machado. All right, so we got some staff to deal with. So hitting coach and farm director. We want a good hitting coach if possible, because obviously our hitting completely sucks. Like, we're great at home runs, but not at contact. So it would be nice to get ourselves somebody that could help us out in the contact department. Somebody like this Freddie Reyes guy, even though he's got a -1 to drag bunting, to me, drag bunting's not that important. So we are going to put this up a little bit and see if we can get Freddie Reyes in as that hitting coach. And then we need a farm director is the other one. So let's see if we could get somebody here as well that could help us maybe in the contact department with not a lot of negatives, if possible. Seems like most of these guys have some negatives to them. This one's pretty decent. Hits per 9, -1. That's not ideal. But like the durability, the arm strength's not bad. I prefer somebody that could help us though in terms of hitting. if possible. Seems like not a lot of them have good contact-related information. Who is the highest rated one that's in this list? Out of curiosity, because maybe I missed one earlier on. Oh, there was one with contact, but then also the plate discipline goes down, which I don't like. So I don't think that guy's a great one. Contact +2, clutch +2, hits per 9 goes down a little bit. That's okay. That's okay. We'll go with Glendon Dope as the other one if he wants to come in to the Tropic Turtles. Perfect. So there's the coaches, and we're ready to simulate to free agency 1. The contracts we have to dish out this year are going to be probably a little bit expensive, so we get both of them in, which is nice as coaches. All right, this is where we're going to get into some very tough work here. So 40-man roster, we got to add Tommy Wong to our 40-man roster this year so he doesn't get claimed. Tadahito Taguchi is another one as well. And yeah, this kind of sucks having to add more players to our 40-man. We already have 37 guys, so there is a chance I might have to remove some people at some stage from our 40-man roster that we've drafted, which means that they go through that waivers and have a chance to get claimed, which is kind of sad. So hopefully we do not lose anybody because of that. Charles Nakamura is another guy, but he is not probably a guy that we get claimed, but I honestly have no idea what the AI looks for when they claim players. Tadahito Taguchi is probably not going to get claimed either because he's pretty low still of an overall, but just to play it safe, I'm going to add him to it. Russell Yang's the one that maybe could get put on the 40-man roster as well. But he is technically the third best first baseman on the team. I don't think he's going to get claimed, to be honest. And if he does, he's been playing in our system for a long time, so he doesn't matter too much. Charles Nakamura, do I want to add Charles? Or do I think he's going to get claimed? I don't feel like he's going to get claimed. He has the potential. He's 23 years old, but he's only a 64. I'm going to add him in case. I just feel like I don't want to risk losing him easily. So, Tom Mann's another guy. I don't think he's going to get claimed because he's already 24. We have a lot of relievers that could get claimed at some stage, which kind of sucks. We're already up to 40 players on our 40-man roster, so I might have to just leave everybody else. I got to take a look at who's also eligible to get taken. I wish there was a quicker way to see who could get taken, potentially. So if I go to AAA roster here, let's just scroll through this. I wish it would just stay on this damn part of it, though, because I can't scroll through that part when it scrolls back to the stats. I want to just know who's not eligible, or is eligible to get taken, so that way I could actually add them if I really need to. But it seems like right now everything's fine in terms of players in AAA. Russell Yang we already saw about. Tom Mann, I don't know if Tom Mann's going to get claimed or not. I feel like he could, but at the same time I don't know. Jeff Ishii is another one that's probably not going to get claimed. He did get a potential boost because he had a good year. But he is 26 and only a 66. I don't think he gets claimed. Hiroyuki Yamada, same boat, probably doesn't get claimed. Okay, that's good for AAA. What about double? Let's see. Anybody that would get claimed? Wanyang Chang. He was really good actually last year in double, but I don't think he's going to get claimed. Akio Yamamoto is already 27. He's probably not going to get claimed. I think we should be fine with pretty much everybody else at this stage. So I'm going to take a chance that Tom Mann does not get claimed, and same with Russell Yang. And we might have to remove some people from our 40-man. Like, is there anybody I would remove already from our 40-man? Probably Shane Sasaki, but he's probably gone to free agency this year anyways. And then we have to make some decisions on some other guys that we've drafted in terms of removing them. We probably have way too much relief pitchers on our 40-man, to be honest. So we might have to make some decisions there. All right, in terms of the other stuff we got salary arbitration, and we got contracts to dish out. Let's start off with contracts, I think. Vincent Tan is obviously still a ways away from being a free agent, so we could just give him like a 2-year deal and that should be fine. Actually, he hasn't played enough MLB service to actually be able to offer a minimum contract. Yeah, I think I might just do the minimum renew contract thing with him. So we'll just do that probably for now while we have the option to do so with some of those guys. Kaz as well. because he's okay for now. And then some of these guys like Vincent Chang will just easily get like double A and triple A salaries. So what about Theodore Lee, 780 as well? That's fine with me. Ken Irabu. Normally I don't show a lot of this stuff on video, but I might show some of it. Unless it gets to a point where it's too tedious. Like, I'll show you guys all the ones that actually matter. The ones that don't matter, probably as much I won't show. Which, actually, a good chunk of these guys do matter. So, maybe you guys want to see some of this? I don't know. I might actually cut some of it out, to be honest. I just don't want these episodes being so long and you guys just seeing a bunch of contract negotiations. So, yeah, I might cut that part of the episode out. The actual salary arbitration stuff like that, I'll show you guys that part. So, let me do some contract negotiations, and I'll see you guys in a second. Okay, guys, so all those contracts have been offered out, so that should be all good and ready to go. Now we'll get into the actual main contracts that we want to dish out. So we got some pretty big players here. Some guys not so big, like these guys should be pretty easy to get back. Like Vincent Co. doesn't have a lot of leeway left with this contract, but he should be relatively cheap. Yeah, he's relatively cheap, so... his average wasn't good, his RBIs were good. I know he's a good speed demon, kind of, right? Let's see, doubles, 23 doubles. Yeah, he's a good fast player. Doesn't steal as much bases as he did in his rookie season. He was kind of more of a bench bat, I feel like, this season. But he is an important area of our team that we need, so maybe we're okay with giving him a 3-year deal for now. I don't know if that's a risk, because he could be really good by that point, but let's give him a 3-year deal. Should be nice and cheap, $5.5 million. But the most important one here is Philip Chung and William Yokoyama after his great season. So, Chung, how much years till he becomes a free agent? Only a few years, so we should probably lock him up at this point. I'm just trying to think of what we want to give him. He's only 25 years old, too. 6 years. He wasn't really that great, though, this year, wasn't he? I'm pretty sure his stats haven't been good yet. Yeah, he hasn't been really that elite yet, so I'm kind of worried about giving him a long-term deal. Like, do I just give him, like, a trial run for a year or something like that, and then we were like, if he's good, then we could give him long-term? You know, that might be an option. I actually might do that, even though that technically takes a year away from his contract stuff. I think it's good just to give him 1 year, just so we could kind of see where he's at. Obviously, if he, for some reason, falls into the free agent pool, we will obviously try and get him back again, but I could obviously offer him arbitration, which I don't know if arbitration would be cheaper for us. It'd be $780,000. He's probably going to get more than that for sure. So I will try the 1-year deal at 1.9 and see if we could get him on that. Yokoyama is one that definitely needs to get locked up because he's been fantastic, especially last season with the 314 average. He needs to be locked up. He's already 27, so I don't know for how long term, but he is getting closer to being a free agent too, so I think he's important because we don't have a lot of second basemen. So right now, 5 years would take him till he's 32, which is not too bad. 6 years would take him till he's 33. Trying to think of what we could do with him. He doesn't get too expensive, to be honest, if you go above 6 years. So I might go 7-year deal because we really don't have any other second baseman. I am going to be moving some shortstops over to second base. I'll show you guys who I'm going to be probably moving over in a little bit. But yeah, let's just do a straightforward contract and a 7-year deal. I think that should be good for Yokoyama. And we'll try at $58 million, which is an average of $8.3 million a season. I think that's a good little contract for him. So hopefully he accepts that. And then Hideki Takahashi is a weird one because we don't really need another catcher ready in a sense. He's technically the backup catcher to Yamazaki, of course. And Nomo is like technically a DH because of that. But he did have a really good season, Takahashi. So we might have to just give him like a 1-year deal. He is getting very close to testing free agency as well, right? Yeah, he's literally a year out from wanting to become a free agent, so that's a little bit of a risk. We always need that backup catcher in case Yamazaki gets injured, but I think I might honestly have to just go a 1-year deal on him. What if I go 2 years? What does he want? $6 million a season. That's really not bad, to be honest. $6 million a season for a backup catcher. I feel like that's okay. I feel like that's okay. You know what? We're going to give him a 2-year deal. That might walk him directly to free agency, but at least it gives us a little bit of time before he hits the free agency. So, yeah, let's do the 2-year deal. Sure. Boom. In terms of other contracts, David Sasaki should be relatively cheap, but maybe not. Damn, he's actually trying to get paid. He is a good home run hitter. Trying to think. 5 years at $27 million. That's only 5.5 a season. That's really not bad, to be honest. We do not have a ton of outfielders, so I feel like this is something we might have to lean towards doing as well. How many years until he's a free agent? Only 2. Yeah, that might be okay with me, to be honest. I know he's not a great average hitter right now, but we might have to lock him up because we just don't have a lot of outfielding guys. So let's do right now trying to think here. I don't know if I want to do backloaded contracts and stuff right now. 5.8 a season is really not that bad. It doesn't break the bank too much, so let's do that. David Na and Robert Matsui, we're going to probably offer arbitration for these guys because these guys have been really, really bad so far. So David Na will give him arbitration, Robert Matsui arbitration as well. I'm okay if those guys go to free agency at some point. Eric Yamamoto has been a pretty solid reliever. He's trying to get paid. Okay. A lot of guys on this team actually want money. That's interesting. So if we did a 3-year deal, that would walk him right to free agency, hypothetically, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. How has he been in terms of our relievers? Last year he was good. Prior season, his FIP was really good, though. He has been a stronger reliever on our team, not as strong as like Leonard Soto and whatnot. Try to think of what I want to do with him. Let's give him a 2-year trial run as well, which might be a risk, but we have a lot of relief pitchers anyways, so I could easily replace him at some stage. It's just more I want to see what he's made of. So let's do a 2-year deal for him. Brian Chu is a shortstop. He's one of our shortstops going into next season as well. He will not be getting moved to second base. So I will maybe hold on to him as well. He hasn't been insanely good average-wise, but he could bring some home runs from the bench. He is probably very close to testing free agency up next season. So we'll probably do a 1-year deal, which will be like kind of like a trial run for him as well to see if he wants to, if we'll be able to afford him to come back again. But this might be a risk only giving him 1 year. But we do have guys that could play shortstop other than him too. So it's not a huge risk, but we'll do a 1-year deal for him. Michael Wong, I think, is one of the guys I was thinking of moving to second base, if I'm not mistaken, right? Let me see those attributes. Yeah, I think, maybe not actually. I think there might have been a different guy I was thinking about, but how was he last year? He was not even in the MLB last season. He hasn't been really that good, to be honest. I'm going to offer arbitration for him as well. Yeah, I think that's probably the best bet. And then Shane Sasaki, I don't think he's going to come back. He's just been declining quite a bit. He's also not very good anymore. He's probably going to retire soon, so we'll probably let him walk. We could always bring him back to fill a roster spot if needed, but honestly, don't think he's worth it. And we also have a couple other guys. David Na was already offered. Yeah, okay, arbitration was good on that. Okay, that's good in terms of those contracts. Now also, you guys, who I'm probably going to be moving over to second base. And also, guys, give you guys my reasoning on this. So, I was looking at our shortstops, and I was looking basically at the fielding, the arm, the accuracy, and reaction tab. I was basically taking those 4 numbers, adding them together, and dividing them to see what the average in terms of their fielding, like, kind of stats are. Just because shortstops obviously have to have a good arm and all that type of thing. And it turns out William A. Bayek, Brian Chu, and Stanley Oka are the best kind of shortstops. Taguchi and Wong were not that good. So Taguchi and Wong would be probably getting moved over to second base. You can see Taguchi's stats doesn't really have the best attributes in terms of like fielding in his arm, which obviously shortstop you have to be good at that. So I think basically Taguchi and Wong will get moved over to second base. Chang Ho Chu, Dusty Kim, William A. Bayek are the future probably shortstops. And then Brian Chu and Oka will probably be MLB bound again next season. I didn't look at Dusty Kim because he wasn't on the roster yet. He probably could get moved over to second or third base as well. Do I need third baseman really that much? Probably not, because of Iwamura, who just got drafted too. I may keep Dusty Kim as a shortstop for now too, just to see how he is in his first season. But yeah, I definitely think Taguchi and Wong are going to get moved over to second base. So let's do that actually right now before I forget. I just think it makes more sense for Taguchi to be actually a second baseman. So we're actually going to change his player position over to second base. And then his secondary position is going to be shortstop, I guess, technically. Yeah, third base / shortstop. Perfect. So that's what he's going to be like now. So that is going to change his overall. So it'll be interesting to see how good he is as a second baseman. 74, so I think he stayed the same overall because he actually had that as a position. So Mark Taguchi has been moved over. I think that's a good idea going forward. And then we will also move Michael Wong over as well. He's currently a 74 as well, so we'll see if he gets any downgrade in terms of his overall, which I don't think he will. But let's change him over to second base. And then this part will be third base / shortstop. And that should be good too. So let's see if he's still the same overall. He should be. Yes. Oh, no, he dropped down by 1 point, I think. Yeah, I think he dropped down by a point, but that's not too bad. All right, so that has been reworked. We got all those contracts offered out. 40-man rosters set. Tender contracts. Did I do this? I think so, right? Yeah, I did do that. Okay. Everything is set up and ready to go, I think. So we are ready to simulate a few days. Obviously, I'm going to keep an eye on the Yokoyama situation, especially just because he's very important to re-sign long term, I think. And he might have already accepted. No, he hasn't yet. But these guys probably are getting soon to accept, my guess. Most of the tendered contracts have been accepted already, which is awesome. Easy and done. Let's actually just go to free agency too, because that'll be easier. Boom. Skip this for a second, and let's stop the sim. See what we got here. Looks like Chung and Yokoyama are still debating on those contracts a little bit, but they should accept soon. Nas, good. Everything else should be fine. Yeah, those guys are all in arbitration, and then we didn't offer a contract to Sasaki. Yep, that's all good. Perfect. Let's keep on simulating. The Rockies are offering us a trade. We do not care because we do not make trades still in the series. Not yet. Maybe at some stage if we come into a stage where we need to actually make trades, maybe we'll change up the rules. But Chung and Yokoyama still have not accepted. They should definitely accept soon. Our budget's going to be probably pretty tight in the next few years soon too, which kind of sucks. But at least with our pitchers, some of their money is going down and down each year, so we should be fine with money going forward still. Let's sim to next free agency portion of this. Let's stop the simulation here. See what we got. Still haven't accepted. Taking a little bit of time to accept. Okay, yeah, let's stop simulating because this is the last day we could offer arbitration. They have not accepted yet. I'm kind of scared because they are going to be jumping into the free agent market, I think, if they don't have arbitration offered. Okay, let's try this again. Actually, wait a sec. Wait. The Tropic Turtles have not offered arbitration to William Yokoyama. You may continue to negotiate with this player, but if they remain unsigned, you must offer arbitration by November 23rd or I'll still become a free agent. And it is currently November 23rd, so there is a chance Yokoyama will be in the free agent department. But I am going to try and get that money up there so he's got full interest because I'm surprised these guys haven't accepted just yet. Do I offer arbitration and risk him going to free agency earlier? I don't think so. But he also could just be hitting the free agency right now instead of arbitration. Man, I don't know about this. Let me see. We did 7 years at 58 million. 7 years at 58 million. Let me try and get him more interest in before. Because Yokoyama's very important. We want him to have full interest. So I will put this all the way up to his max interest, which is 62. And that will be 8.9 a year instead. So let me just junk that up a little bit. And same with Chung, because I just cannot risk to lose these guys. And I literally, like I said, I do not want to... I don't want them to be taken in free agency. So let's do 1 year at 3 million for Philip Chung, since we have the money right now anyways. And yeah, those guys, hopefully they don't get any interest from any other teams and leave us, because if they do, I honestly might have to re-record this episode again, because that would be kind of stupid. Okay, let's simulate and see. So let's simulate 1 day. And did we get the accepts on those? I think we did. Let me double check. No, they did not accept yet. So they are in the free agency market, but I do not know if any other team will be interested in them. Let's see. Yeah, Yokoyama has no offers. I thought we already offered him a contract, though. Oh my goodness, this is actually kind of ridiculous. I'm going to have to try and get these guys right now. Oh man, his asking price has gone up completely too. But we are going to just go all in right here and get these guys. $769. I know that's an overpayment maybe. And then we got to go to our closer. And we got to go with Phil Chung. Oh my god. Let's just give you a multi-year deal too, to make you even want to test free agency a little bit earlier too, or some shit. I honestly don't know what I'm doing now at this stage. Why are those guys going to free agency? I know I could have offered them arbitration, but I want them signed long-term if I possibly, so... Maybe I could have done arbitration with Chung because he only had 1 year, but I don't think those guys are going to sign anywhere else. I just don't think so. But if they do, I will have to re-record this episode, probably. Let's just stop simulating here and see if we got any new news. Yep, Philip Chung's already right back. Perfect. 2 years, 3.2. That's okay with me. He is going to be testing free agency relatively soon, but at least we have that 1 extra year of arbitration, so that's okay. And Yokoyama's back on board, but now he's getting paid 9.9 a season. It's not too bad still, to be honest, considering he had over 300 average, and our team wasn't great contact hitting. I think that's actually good, so... Wasn't a huge overpayment, but at least we got those guys back, because I was a little bit worried there for a second, and I didn't want to lose them to another team. That's a bit of a scary thing about contract negotiations. Yeah, we don't have anybody else to deal with, so we are okay to continue simulating. Damn, Joaquin Arizari, I remember that dude. He was literally on the Chicago White Sox, I think. He literally just signed with the Angels, so we're already seeing some generated guys signing in other teams, which is kind of crazy at this stage. Alright, so we should be getting close to the draft lottery and the Rule 5 draft, which is awesome. We aren't going to be able to take probably anybody in the Rule 5 draft, though, because we already have 40 man on our roster, so at least I think we do. No, we have 39 now because Sasaki dropped, so we could potentially take somebody in the Rule 5 draft. We'll see if there's anybody actually worth taking, though. There might not be. We do got the draft lottery now, though, and we have only a 5.5% chance at the first overall pick. We did see a team go from 7-1 before, I think, but we do not have great odds. And there's a chance that we could fall back even further, too, so will be interesting to see. The Rangers do have the best odds, the Giants as well, and the Red Sox. The Giants did have the first overall pick, I think it was last year or 2 years ago. But let's see what ends up happening with the draft lottery, see if we can move up at least. Like, we don't necessarily need the first overall pick, but we need to at least maybe stay where we are or move up to give us a chance at maybe another good Asian player. As who knows, there could be some good Asians this year. We did fall back 1 spot to number 8 as the Padres moved all the way up from 8 to number 3. Damn. Lucky for them on a 3.9% chance too. So we have our worst selection yet. It's not that bad, but obviously at some stage we're going to be in like the 15 range, and it's going to be getting harder and harder for us to actually add good prospects, which is kind of sucks. But we will have the 8th overall pick in 2034-35. All right. Let's continue to simulate. And Rule 5 draft. We have 1 roster space available. Let's see if anybody on our team goes as well. Is there anybody worth taking? Probably not, to be honest, but we'll double check if there's any Asians even in this Rule 5 draft, because some Rule 5s don't have any. Doesn't seem like anybody interesting in terms of starters. Relievers. Just trying to see if there's any names out here. Don't see any there either. Closers. We do need technically more closers, but I'll probably end up having to use some relievers as closers at some stage. Kind of like Tom Koo was last year in the MLB. Catchers. IR Jeff Ishii's there, of course. DeAndre Zune. Yeah, nobody important. Russell Yang's ours. Steven Ma is not ours, but he only has deep potential. He's not super good. Wouldn't take this guy, even we don't need first baseman really anyways. We already have a bunch. Second base. Is there anybody at second? Doesn't look like it. Third base. There's a real lack of Asians in this league, apparently. Unless we just have them all on a roster or something. Third base. Nobody. I don't have a shortstop, actually. Never mind. Left fielder. Left fielder. Any left fielders? Not that I see. Center field. There's literally like nobody. Hey, Louis is there. Oh, man. If only this was not an Asian draft to glory, I would definitely take Louis there. But Louis is hopefully going to stay where he is right now. That's kind of funny to see him there. And then right fielders, there is nobody really either. Yeah, there's nobody we could even take anyways. So let's just hope none of our prospects end up going to other teams, because that would be kind of annoying. Let's see. I'm going to go look afterwards and double check that we didn't lose anybody. Alright, I don't think we lost anybody. Richard Bird went to the Giants. Don't know who you are. Greg Adamson, Omar Cordova. Yeah, I don't think any of these guys were ours, which is good because none of these have Asian names. So we were in the clear. We did not lose a single player in the Rule 5. That's nice. I probably didn't need to add those relief pitchers, but I just wanted to make sure they didn't get taken. So I was a little bit skeptical. All right, arbitration hearings. We got a couple of those to have, so we'll see how much those guys end up getting paid, which probably won't be too much. But obviously Matsui and Na are guys that might test free agency in the next few years. And Juan Soto went back to the Padres again on a 1-year deal to pretty much wrap up his career, maybe. All right, renewable contracts. We'll sum to that part. So Matsui's going to get paid $1.35 million next season. Yeah, there's a good chance that him and Na could be free agents at some stage relatively soon. Michael Wong's going to get $1.22 million. Not bad. And there was at least 1 or 2 more contracts, I think, as well. There's one more, at least, David Na, that still will have his to deal with. Spring training will sim too. There's David Na. He's going to get 1.445. Not bad. Let's not stop simulating. All right, we're at spring training. I do want to take a look right now what they called up to our roster for spring training. And we are probably going to have to sign some more filler players, which is unfortunate. So I'm going to have to probably do some more due diligence in between this episode, which kind of sucks. Yeah, I'm already going to probably do that right now before we actually get our rosters set up and stuff for next season. So what do I need? We need 1 closer. We need probably like another 6 starting pitchers. And we need 1 center fielder. Alright, that's not too bad. So I will have to do some contract work, so I will see you guys in a second. Okay guys, so I filled out the rest of the roster with some more starting pitchers, closers, and the 1 center fielder. I'll show you guys who we signed so you can see all these low-end talent players are just filler players. Also, in terms of closing pitchers, we got another filler in Ryan Helsley, so these guys don't matter too much. However, there's somebody that you guys haven't seen in quite a while that we just signed at center field as our one guy to sign to fill it up, and that guy is Darren Hoffman. If you remember this guy, he's actually Asian too, so I'm not even going to lower him because of that, but I remember us seeing him in the draft class multiple times over back quite a few years ago. I don't know if he ended up getting drafted by any team. I can't remember, to be honest, but he's only a 41 overall at 27, so he's absolute trash. But he was the filler player I brought in for center field, which is pretty awesome. I saw him at the bottom of the list. I'm like, I have to bring him in for the memes, so we did just that. But yeah, he is pretty bad, and I'm pretty glad I didn't draft him at all, because if I did draft him, that would have been one of our worst picks probably of the series, because he definitely did not develop into being anything whatsoever. So yeah, that's basically what I brought in terms of filler. I think we're ready to simulate through spring training. I do want to make sure our lineup is set up properly for spring training, and then we'll basically see after spring training who I should probably send down and who should stay on the roster. So let's see what we got in terms of our team set up the way we want it. So We probably want our pitching rotation to be as follows. So Iwamura, Nguyen, Jung, Tan, and Hayashi. That looks actually really nice. So the pitching rotation is probably going to be pretty filthy this year. In terms of relievers, obviously Walter Cho is going to be still here. Sato, Matsui, Yamamoto. Eric Yamashita was not on, actually was on our team last year. He wasn't very good though. Yeah, he wasn't very good. He was actually pretty bad. I don't know if he actually got sent down to Triple at any point, but he was one of our worst players. Does have minor league options, so he might be definitely a candidate to get sent down. Tommy Wong probably will be back down there as well because he's still developing. So probably Wong and Yamashita get sent down. David Knott could be used as a reliever. Walter Lee will still be used up here. Philip Chung, Tom Koo. Austin Choi is probably going to get sent back down. Nakamura is going to sent back down. Helsley is also going to get sent down. And that's pretty much that. I think that's good. In terms of our batting order, let's see, for spring training. Okay, so what do we have so far? We have a first baseman. We do not have a second baseman in the lineup at the moment. Yokoyama is that guy. So we got a first, second, third. We have a shortstop. We have a left fielder, a center fielder. We do not have a right fielder in the lineup. And also, Takahashi has to come out for Yamazaki, of course. So we'll put Yamazaki back in those spots. So that's all good. Nomo still has the DH is good. Yeah, we still need that right fielder. So in terms of right fielders, Nishi is back for the minors. He was pretty good last year in the minors. His contact hitting is getting better. Yabu can only play third or second. Chen is probably going to get sent back down. Chu is pretty good as a shortstop. Yeah, I would probably have Chu in over Oka still, I think. Let me take a look at their stats from last season. Yeah, probably. So we'll probably go with that. Right fielder will probably still be Vincent Seo. Yeah, we have a bit of a logjam on our roster in a sense on who should be up here and who isn't. So there's going to be probably some people going through waivers at the start of the season, my guess. But I wanted to make sure our spring training was set up properly. And we'll just keep it in this order, and we'll see player stats and see if there's anybody that definitely needs to be sent down because they're not good enough. So let's go through spring training just to see how this team is, and then we'll make our decisions on who should be sent down and who should stay with the roster. All right, so our spring training, we finished 20-11, so that's our best spring training yet, which is amazing. Obviously, really good pitching rotation probably helped things, but that's really positive to see that we had a really good spring training. Our contact hitting is probably still not good, but let's take a look at some player stats from spring training here. So Iwamur obviously is good. Stan is good. Young is still kind of a little bit mixed. Vincent Tan was kind of mixed too, to be honest, but that's okay. Kaz was not the best. He did win every single game. Walter Cho was good. Leonard Sato was good. Matsui, we'll probably keep him still there anyways. Oh man, a lot of the relievers were pretty good, so there's going to be some pretty tough cuts, I think, with this roster. Right now, it doesn't scream like anybody super exciting needs to get cut, but I am going to definitely have to send some people down. So we're going to have to make those decisions here in this episode because we obviously want to take a look at the draft class as well and all that stuff. Yokoyama obviously is going to be here. Sato is going to be here. Trying to see if there's anybody really bad. David Sasaki only batted a 130 in spring training. He is not a good average hitter, though. Theodore Lee looks like he could have a potentially breakout year this year based on his spring training. He had 6 home runs in spring training, so expecting some guys to have some good years here. Brian Chu wasn't very good, so maybe do we want to get Oka back in? How was Oka in spring training? Worse numbers, pretty much. They're pretty similar numbers in a sense. Trying to see if there's anybody that really did struggle. Yabu kind of struggled a bit. Okay, we're going to have to make our decisions here. So, let's go through this. We have how much pitchers in the MLB right now even? Quite a bit. So, obviously, these are our 5 starting pitchers. We were saying Matsui and Nal would be relievers. We could send them down too, but I don't think I'm going to do that yet. In terms of relief pitchers, this is where we definitely probably got to send down some people. So, Austin Choi is going to get sent down to AAA. He's definitely one. Nakamura is definitely not ready yet, too. We'll send him to AAA. And that's good on that front. There might be some other guys that need to get sent down here too. Like Tommy Wong was one I was saying that should. He should still have, yeah, all 3 of his options. I'm going to send him to AAA for now too, just because he's young. Also, the rest of those guys are good. Walter Lee had a little bit of a rough spring training, it looks like. But I might hold on to him a little bit up here for now if we have the roster space. Helsley's going to get sent down to double. So that puts us at 36 out of 40. We need to get all the way down to 26, was it? Yeah, I think we need to go down by 10 more players still. All 3 of these guys are definitely up here. Tadahito Taguchi is definitely back in probably double. So that should be fine. First base, definitely he's going to be up here. Park could definitely be up here. And those are good on first base probably. Taguchi's used all 3 of his options. Oh man, that's a bit of a risky one. I should probably just use him as a backup second baseman, which means Michael Wong has options. He didn't play any games with us last season, so I could send Wong and Fong back down. I think that's what we'll do. Fong, I think, might go through waivers, so no, he doesn't. All right, so these guys will get sent to AAA, these 2. The Wong and the Fong. So we'll send those guys down to triple. Third base, Richard Chen should also get sent down to triple. So we'll do that. We'll probably move Robert Iwamura to double in that sense, just to balance out the roster a little bit more. Yamazaki isn't Koji. He could go to triple. That's fine. But Yabu and Sato definitely... Yabu is an interesting one. He has all of his options except for 1. He could get sent back down potentially. He was a September call-up last year, and he was actually pretty decent, so I might hold on to him because of that contact. Definitely that's something that would help our team out a lot. In terms of these guys, those 2 could definitely stay up here. Oka technically has all of his options if I really wanted to send him down, but I'm not going to. Tom Lee, William Chung. William Chung's definitely a guy that I could potentially send down, but he'd go through waivers. But for right now, it should be fine. Center fielders, Walter Choi's not ready yet. He is definitely not ready yet, so I'm going to send him down as well to triple. Darren Hoffman's going to get sent to double. And then right fielders, Brian Shin is going to get sent back down to triple as well. Actually, maybe to double. Brian Shin goes through waivers, which kind of sucks, but he's not going to likely get claimed. That knocks us down to 31 players. We still need to cut 5 more people on this roster. Jesus. Oh, this is tough. Actually, it'd be 4 more probably once Shin actually goes through. So yeah, we are at 30 out of 40, so we only need to cut through like 4 more people at the moment. Let me actually just go 40-man roster. Actually, let's just go MLB roster here. Who else will I cut? Walter Lee honestly could be one. How has he been with us though so far? Last year he was not super good. I'll send him down for the time being just to cut a body, but he could come back up at some point. So that's 29. Philip Nishi, in my opinion, isn't ready yet. But he does only have 1 option left. We are going to send him down just for the time being as well. That does use his last option, though. And then 2 more people to send down. Let me take a look. We have a lot of first basemen still. Actually, only 2 first basemen. Trying to see where we have too much players. Is there any area that has too much? Not really. Maybe relievers still. Walter Cho's definitely been one of our best relievers, so I definitely want to keep him up here because he's been really solid. I don't think there's any relievers I would cut. Starters, I could send Matsui and Na back down, to be honest, because I don't know if they're actually good relievers. Matsui was actually pretty bad last year, and I think he was the one playing reliever, right, last year? Yeah, I think so. Actually, wait, yeah, he definitely was. Yeah, I'm going to send Matsui down. He has options still, so we are going to send him down for the time being, just to basically scrap another body. And we need to send down 1 more player. Who is that one last player going to be? Technically, Chang could be in the MLB roster as well this season, but I'm not going to do that yet. He might be a September call-up option. This is so tough. This is really, really tough. We have technically a lot of third basemen. Technically, Yabu's the best option. I do like his contact, though. But I think Yabu might get sent down. He has all of his options almost, so he could be a September call-up again. But yeah, I think Yabu is going to be the other option. And then we got to just readjust this so we have enough players in the right areas. So that's 3 second basemen in triple A. I'll send Yamazaki back down to double. And that should be fine. Just want to make sure we're overdoing it in terms of players in certain leagues. That should be fine. Probably too much relievers, right? Yeah, there's way too many relievers, I think, in triple. So we'll send a couple of these guys back down to double. And that should be all we need to really do going forward, right? I think starters should be fine almost. A lot of starters in AAA too, so we'll move a bunch of those guys down to double. And double now has too much people. So I'll move probably somebody like... Who do I want to move? DeAndre Zhu could be sent to single A. Perfect. Yeah, that's fine. Good. All set up, I think, and ready almost to go. Juan Nieves. Sure, you could go to Class A as well. Boom. Okay, that should be good. That should be set up and ready to go. We should be actually able to sim to the start of the season. We aren't the worst rated contact hitting team now, which is nice. We are the second ranked team in the league. First in power, first in pitching. That's pretty impressive based on that at least. I don't know if it'll be like that at the actual start of the season, but let's get into the regular season now. And now we should have our same rotations and stuff like that as before, right? Philip Chung as a setup guy might actually be an okay option for him. Yeah, that might be okay. So Tom Koo still as a closer. Yeah, that looks good. In terms of double A, let's just make sure we have actual starters in. We have relief pitchers in right now. So we want to make sure we got our starters into those spots, which right now, Tom Chen's actually a starter. I don't really want to have relievers in these spots whatsoever. So I might actually have to send some more starters down from triple to double. So let's get that done just to make sure we're actually having enough starters in double A. So we'll send down 2 more of them, I think, is all we needed. So we'll take you and get you out, and boom, boom. Make sure everybody's in the right spots. Helsley's a closer. We'll put him there. Damn, there's a lot of pitchers in double A. So we might have to move some more of them to triple, but that should be fine for now. In terms of the starters here, that's a starter. I don't want those guys in those spots. Mace is a starter. Wong needs to be there. Nick Nastrini. Walter Lee's a relief pitcher. Oh man, we need more starters almost down here too. Who is my guys with the... Actually, Robert Matsui, I just forgot about that. We just sent him down too. Matsui will be the second pitcher because Kenny Rabu's a prospect. And then we also have... who is the other one? Did I already send down David Naw? I did not send down David Naw yet. David Naw came right back up because the game decided to call him up again. I don't know why that happened. Because I thought I just sent him down. Who did it send down then? I don't know who it sent down. I'm going to double check and make sure it wasn't somebody important. Just got to make sure this looks okay. William Chung got called back up, I think. I don't know if I sent him down. No, I don't think I did send him down. No, that should be fine. That should be fine. It says about 27 players in the MLB, though, but I think it's because Shin's still on waivers. Alright, so I think our lineups are pretty good in terms of that. In terms of the MLB, I just want to get this quickly set up or make sure it's set up properly, which I think it already is. So I think we're actually going to just already start simulating a little bit and see how this team does. And then getting to the actual draft class, because I do want to know what the draft class looks like in this episode still. But I think our team should be good this year. We're now the 5th ranked team, but we're still first in power, first in pitching. We are 29th in contact and defense, which is not great, and 26th in speed. So we definitely still need to get that contact better. That's definitely a must. But let's go through our first week of the season, or whatever the heck it is, until we find out what this draft class is looking like. So first 3 games against Baltimore, actually first 4 games against Baltimore. How will we do? AAA needs a valid lineup. Oh yeah, I guess I have to do with that stuff too. There's always so much stuff to set up before we get season. God damn. We need a third baseman. We will put Robert Iwamura as that third baseman because he is one of our better prospects, I would say. And Iwamura is playing third base there. We do need a... What is it? We need a... What position do we need here? I don't even know. Oh, a DH. Does Saito have good power? Not really. Who could be the DH down there? Probably Michael Fong would make sense, I guess. Let's do that. Perfect. So that's good for double. Triple needs a lot of stuff in their lineup, so we need a third baseman. Let's see. We will change you over to that. There you go. Yamazaki in his normal spot. Suzuki at first base. I would rather him than Russell Yang at the moment. Actually, we'd probably put Russell Yang as the outfielder. Yeah, we'll probably put him as an outfielder, Russell Yang. What else we got here? Richard Chen actually should be in probably over Yamazaki. Oh my goodness. There is too much players to put in these lineups. That's actually kind of insane. We do want Nishi in there on the outfielding side of things. Walter Choi could only play outfield. So probably Russell Yang is going to be out of the lineup, which is okay. And we'll get Michael Wong in. Yamazaki could only play third or second base. We'll probably put in then... Actually, Dusty Kim needs to play for sure. Jesus. Dusty Kim definitely needs to play. He will be the DH, I guess, for now. There you go. Okay, that's good. And I need to put those same guys into the lineup. Oh my god. Literally, it seems like there's like never-ending tasks in the off-season, and this episode's going to be so long, and you guys are going to be like, what the shit, man? But it's literally because there's so much work to do. Like, I just have so many prospects now to take care of that I honestly don't remember a lot of these guys now. Well, I do remember a lot of them, but at the same time, it just... so much micromanaging, and a lot of them have similar names too, so it just makes it even more complex. We need to get you on shortstop. William A. Bayek. There you go. And we need still Michael Wong at second base, I think. Yep. And it was also Shin. Actually, no, it was Suzuki that was playing as well. But he could only play first base. Ah, yeah, that's right. He was playing instead of Russell Yang. And we'll get Yang out for Shin. There you go. I think that is actually good and ready to go now. All right, perfect. So, our first game of the season, we won 13-0. So, that's pretty damn insane. Might have been a shutout game for Iwamura already to start the year. And then we lose 2 straight games afterwards, of course. This team might still have some inconsistencies this year. Let's go through the first full week of the action of the season. Theodore Lee's already got a finger contusion out 1 to 2 weeks. That kind of sucks. But let's adjust our lineup. So he was playing first base. So we'll get Raymond Parker right into that exact same spot. Perfect. 2-2 so far. Let's see how we finish off this first week of action. Wow, we've already had 3 shutouts this season, I think. Yeah, wow, okay. Walter Jung has a strained pectoral at 1 to 2 weeks. Okay, it's only 1 to 2 weeks. And Yamazaki has an abdominal strain. So we're literally getting injuries slapped with us here early on in the year. And apparently there's too many pitchers in AA. So we got to move some guys from AA up to triple. So let's just move some of the relievers that are good. So let's go to the best relief pitcher there is Fong. So we'll move Fong to triple. And we'll move Philip Irabu to triple as well. Just to do that adjustment. Alright, and there we go. We've already had like 4 shutouts this season. We're 5-4 in our first 9 games, and 4 of those wins have been shutout wins. That's actually kind of nuts. 13-0 against Baltimore. Then we went 3-0 against Baltimore at one point. 7-0 against the White Sox, who were in the playoffs last year. 8-5 over the White Sox again. And then 4-0 over Cincinnati. Alright. Now we can finally take a look at this draft class, because this is what I've been trying to get to for the last 20 minutes, it feels like. Let's take a look at what the draft class is looking like. We have the 8th overall pick this year. So what is there in terms of Asian talent in this year's draft class? Is there any good Asians? Ed Tachiki? Yep, from Japan. This is the best option, and he's a catcher, which is kind of great, actually, because we could use more catchers, because obviously with Yamazaki getting up there in age, Ed Tachiki is actually a pretty good option, so he might end up being our pick, potentially, if he's good. What else we got here? Tim Kim is not Asian, but still, that's a cool name. Tim Kim. Dino. Shout out to Dino. What else we got here in terms of Asians? Bob Park? No, I don't think so. He looks like a white guy. Brian Cho, starting pitcher. So there's a starting pitcher. We do need more pitchers for the future, too. So at least we've seen 2 Asians so far. So there won't be a ton of options, it seems like, early on. But at least we don't have the top pick. Richie Chen's another starting pitcher, so we should be able to get some pitching help for the future, which is good considering our pitching rotation is kind of getting up there in age a little bit. So that's at least good to know. Anybody else that's actually supposed to get drafted? David Koo, another catcher. All right, so a couple catchers in this draft class. Hopefully they're good. What else we got here? Any other names? So that's like 4 people so far. 2 catchers, 2 starting pitchers. There's another Takahashi, another starting pitcher. So 5 players total so far. Nice. What else we got here? I'm just going to look at the top 200 just because or else it's going to get a little bit redundant. There's another Darren Hoffman, but he's not Asian. It's kind of funny that after we just signed a Darren Hoffman. What else we got here? Stuart Chow, another starting pitcher, but he's 21. A lot of these guys have maybe high overalls, which is kind of interesting. So hopefully they are good overalls, because obviously that will help us faster as well. And we're almost out of the top 200 now. Just got like 30 more guys to look through. But once again, it's not going to be a super crazy draft in terms of amount of Asian talents, but at least we're trending in the right direction in terms of winning games. There's another one, Yamaguchi, the first reliever we've seen. Supposed to go around 187. There's another one in Anthony Ishii, but he's a third baseman, so more third base help is not too bad. So maybe we look into Ishii a little bit. Russell Nam, first baseman. All right, so it seems like there's some that are supposed to go maybe late in the draft, which is kind of good. Better than not taking players. Another one, Kana Fong. Does not really look that good, but he is an outfielder, which is something we need. So there is the top 200 players. And final thing I wanted to take a look at is just how our team has done in our first few games of the season. Yeah, we've only given up 24 runs, which is the best in our division so far through 9 games. So we're really good defensively, or in terms of pitching at least, I should say, not defense. Our offense is pretty much tied with a bunch of other teams in our division right now, so if our offense keeps up, this could be definitely our best season yet again. Currently, if we go to shutouts, so I wanted to see that stat. Yeah, see, we've already had 4 shutouts, and everybody else in the league has only had 1. That's insane. Vincent Tan's already had 2 shutouts this season, too, so it's going to be interesting to see what the team is looking like in terms of this season. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Tokyo Tropic Turtles Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we will start simulating more of the season. We'll take a look at the year 12 draft class. And we'll see what this team ends up doing. Like, I think this year we could probably be close to 500 again. I'm not sure if we will be 500 or above 500 or slightly below. But this could be an exciting year depending if this team is to stay healthy or not. Guys, think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.